G'day, I'm Matt Brand and we need to chat about the new Kia Ute, also known as the Tasman Ute, or internally known as the TK Ute. Kia recently invited me to spend some time with their Australian CEO, Ute product manager, and Australian engineer, amongst some other key figures, and we talk the snot out of Utes. I learned a lot about the upcoming Kia Ute, most things on record and some things off. So today I'm going to tell you why now, what even is the Kia Ute, why is it so damn exciting, what are the biggest roadblocks Kia is going to face, and what do I think of the Kia Ute as someone who has driven every new Ute on the market. So let's get into it. Okay, so why now? Well, the Kia Ute began development in late 2019, early 2020, which, as we all know, was when the pandemic first broke out. The reality is, had COVID not been an issue, we probably could have expected to see the Kia Ute a lot earlier than its planned release in 2025. Over the last 5 to 10 years, Utes, or trucks, as they are known elsewhere, have gone crazy in sales. As an example, in 2015, Australia's top 3 selling cars were the Toyota Corolla, Mazda 3, and Toyota HiLux. Now though, in 2023 so far, number 1 is HiLux, number 2 is Ranger, and number 3 is the Isuzu D-Max. That means we've gone from 1 Ute in 3rd place to 3 Utes in the top 3 places. And this trend is also really evident in emerging markets in the Middle East and Southeast Asia, a point Kia made very clear to us at the event. Now, obviously Australia is not an emerging market, but we are crazy for Utes, especially expensive Utes with all the bells and whistles. And not only are we a prime country to purchase the Kia Ute, we have a lot of experience developing them locally, including arguably the global class leader for mid-sized Utes, the Ford Ranger, designed and engineered almost exclusively in Australia. So coming back to why now? Well, now is as good as it's ever been, and Kia wants a slice of that sweet money-making pie. Okay, so what even is the Kia Ute? Let's go through everything we know so far. It's gonna be a ladder frame chassis mid-sized Ute, and from what I can ascertain, they are going for the throat of the current king of mid-sized Utes, the Ford Ranger. From speaking to their chief engineer for ride and handling, Graham Gambold, the TK Ute is still very much in its early stages of development. This would actually be the 2nd ladder frame chassis vehicle that Kia currently sells. Overseas, Kia sells the Mojave SUV, which is a 7-seat off-road focused family SUV. Don't get too excited by the spy pics. From what I can tell, the Kia Ute right now is nothing more than a Mojave SUV that's been chopped up for testing. But it will be an all-new chassis, which is pretty interesting considering how expensive they are to develop. And because Kia is part of the heavily vertically integrated Hyundai Motor Group, the final aspects of the Ute, like design, can be changed literal weeks before production begins. They are very impressive with that stuff. Okay, so we don't know what it looks like, but what do we know? Well, it may come with the choice of 3 engines. The first is the 2-litre turbo diesel found in the Kia Sportage. It only outputs 137 kilowatt of power, 416 newton meters of torque. So I would expect this to be the engine for the entry-level Kia Ute. Next though is the 2.2 litre turbo diesel engine that's used in the Kia Carnival, 148 kilowatt and 440 newton meters of torque, which would align well with the bi-turbo 4-cylinder of the Ford Ranger or the D4D 2.8 litre diesel in the HiLux, or really most Utes in the segment. Really what we can likely expect is the current Mojave 3-litre turbo diesel V6, which has very similar outputs to the Ford Ranger at 184 kilowatt and 565 newton meters of torque. If you've heard that there may be a Raptor performance version of the Kia Ute, I'm proud of myself because I actually asked that question at the event. In response though, Kia said something along the lines of, "We are looking for a competitor at all levels." If that's the case, they may be considering a performance version of the Ute. That means we could see the wicked 3.3 litre twin turbo V6 from the Kia Stinger. However, and sorry to burst your bubble, I think that that's very unlikely because during our on-record chat with the team, it was pretty clear that the Kia Ute would be leaf spring suspended, only at least at first. And as we know, the Ranger Raptor as a performance variant is coil sprung at the rear, different from the other Rangers. What's more likely for a performance Kia Ute is a tuned diesel variant akin to the Toyota HiLux GR Sport, Mitsubishi Triton Extreme, and Nissan Navara Pro 4X Warrior, although we can't say for sure yet. But what we do know is that this points to some exciting possibilities for the Tasman's lineup. Okay, so why is the Kia Ute so exciting? Well, it's exciting because Kia is known for being extremely disruptive in the automotive industry. Like, look at the Kia Sportage, which is feature-packed, drives fantastic, and looks the part. Kia have a fix it before it's broken mentality. And so major updates to their cars happens every 2 years or so. That is far quicker than the 4-year average of other auto manufacturers. The Kia Carnival is another great example of a disruptive product in the minivan market, quickly rising to #1 spot in Australia. In fact, Kia is now the 4th largest seller of cars in Australia by number of sales. They weren't even in the top 10 just 10 years ago. And it's because of that fix it before it's broken mentality with innovation, generally lower cost than competitors, and also their 7-year unlimited kilometer warranty, which, by the way, will almost definitely be applied to the Utes too. That is what is most exciting, especially when you consider that their target is 20,000 vehicles at a minimum every year in Australia. They need to make the Kia Ute unbeatable to achieve those numbers and attract the hardcore Ranger and HiLux owners specifically. Frankly, it's going to drive big competition from the likes of Ford, Toyota, Isuzu, Nissan, and Mitsubishi, who in the past could be accused of slow movements in updates to their Utes. If they want to keep up with Kia, like we've seen in other markets Kia has entered, they will need to invest a lot more in their cars, which can only be a good thing for Ute buyers. Let's be honest, this is not going to be easy for Kia. Here are some of the issues I think they'll face. One is brand reputation, because let's face it, Ute owners are probably the most hardcore car owners out there. They love their Utes, and often will only buy one brand of Ute as long as they own Utes. And so as a newcomer to the Australian Ute market, Kia will face the challenge of establishing itself against well-known and trusted brands like Ford and Toyota. Next is keeping pace with a moving target. The Ute market is rapidly evolving, with the design, specification, and pricing of competitors like the Ford Ranger continually advancing. Not to mention, we are expecting an all-new HiLux, Navara, and Triton by the end of 2024. So Kia will need to keep up with these changes while developing their Ute. Next is high sales expectations. So Kia has high sale expectations for their Ute in Australia, aiming for at least 20,000 units annually. This is not going to be easy because that is about 10% of the total market in Australia. They might have a brand reputation for passenger cars, but they need to establish that now for work trucks. Understanding and catering to the Australian market. Australia is a key market for the Kia Ute, and Kia will need to understand and cater to the unique needs and preferences of picky Australian customers. The company has already begun this process, but it remains a significant challenge. Okay, what do I think? Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm really rooting for the Kia Ute. You only have to watch my HiLux reviews to see that clearly innovation has been slow in this industry. That's not a bad Ute, but it certainly feels old. Any new market entrant is going to place a lot of pressure on other manufacturers on all aspects. I'm talking price, performance, technology, reliability. All of these things will be important for the new Kia Ute. Not to mention, it's being designed with a focus on Australia, and the stuff that the Kia Australia head office does is impressive, and Korea are getting a lot of buy-in from Australia. But Kia do face a lot of challenges in making the Kia Ute work, so it'll be interesting to see how they try and mitigate all of those risks. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. Are you excited for the Kia Tasman Ute like me? Click over there to watch my Toyota HiLux review and the new Ford Ranger review, both of these being the most popular Utes in Australia. Ciao for now.